Hi guys, welcome back to TOEFL with Juva. Today I'm going to talk to Ines. Ines recently took the TOEFL. She was super successful and she's going to tell you all about her TOEFL experience today. Hi Ines, how are you doing?
Hello everyone, and thanks, Juva, for having me on your channel today. I'm really happy to be able to help and to give the others some feedback about how the TOEFL was and about my whole experience in general.
That's so amazing. Thank you so much, Ines. Ines, tell us a bit about yourself. What are you doing? Where are you from?
Well, I'm an engineering student from Morocco. This is my last year, and I took the TOEFL to apply to some universities. And then when I looked up at TOEFL in videos, I came across Juva's channel, and that's how I got there.
Okay, amazing. When did you take the TOEFL?
I took it on January the 16th.
Okay, so it's not long ago, right? So
Yeah.
the impression and the experience is still fresh, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Tell us a bit about why exactly did you take the TOEFL? So where do you want to apply?
So the idea was to apply for Chinese universities, and among the requirements, there was this section about English speaking, and then I had to get around 90 at the TOEFL test.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
90. So then I told myself that I had to get it and to start studying as soon as possible.
Okay, that was definitely a lot of pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I only had a few days to get everything sorted out. So yes, it was a lot of pressure.
Okay, but you mastered it perfectly. You scored above 100 in the TOEFL, which is really amazing.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank
Um,
you.
Ines, how did you prepare to get such a great score?
So first of all, I was pretty confident in my English because I thought I spoke well, but I know that tests are a bit different. They don't really test your ability to speak about everyday's life. It's more about academics. So I
Mhm.
went on the website, the TOEFL website, and I looked up the mock test that they suggested, and then I thought the reading part and the listening part were a bit tricky. So I thought let's look for feedback on YouTube. And maybe I could find some tips from people who took previously the test and I could learn from their mistakes. And yeah, so the first two sections, the reading and the listening, I only relied on the mock test to prepare it because I saw how the questions were and I learned how to manage my time. But then for the speaking part and the writing, I needed some serious help. For example, I started looking for templates or for general tips so that I don't waste time trying to think about what to say in the beginning. And then I watched your video about the speaking part, and that was very useful. So your method was to actually remember phrases to start your speaking section, and then while you're saying that, for example, that I agree with this and this is why, you can think about the answers,
Yeah.
and that was super helpful. I was able to talk the whole 60 seconds, and I wasn't stressed because I knew what to say before. I didn't have these random stops, you know, when you stop talking, and it's not good for you for your application. I think they would give you less, I mean, a worse mark if you stop talking.
Mhm.
And for the writing, I also watched your video, and you had some templates as well. And for each of the two tasks, the first essay that required a bit of comparing between the text and the lecture, that was really helpful because you have it all structured, and all you have to do is to actually write the arguments that support the first claim, and then the counter arguments that do the opposite. And that made it very organized for me to write. And I didn't waste time. I didn't waste time in trying to find beautiful words because I already had the introduction prepared a little bit, and then for each paragraph I would have different words, for example, to say he highlighted and then he illustrates this. So yeah, I was pretty confident. Because I had so many verbs memorized from the night before, thanks to the video. Yeah, and then as for the last task, it was a bit of a personal thing because it was an essay and I had to talk about my city and what made it interesting in my own perspective, from my own perspective. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how I prepared for the TOEFL.
Okay, amazing. So, I mean, yeah, that's exactly what these templates are for. I'm glad they were useful to you. So I think the idea is that you have something like a support that helps you in a very stressful situation, because I mean, when I was taking the TOEFL, it was really stressful. You were so nervous, you want to do well, and there is the timer and you see, okay, I don't have much time to deliver my answer, to speak or to write. And yeah, the idea is just that you have something where you know, okay, this is how I can start my sentences. This is something I can rely on in case I have a blackout or something like that, right? And yeah, I'm really glad this was helpful to you, Ines. So you would say, would you recommend using templates to a TOEFL student?
Yes, I do. I do recommend it, especially as I said, for the speaking part and the first task in the writing part.
Yeah.
Because these ones are pretty much the same. They always give you the same task as for the first essay. It's always about comparing 2 points, different points of view. So you're basically gonna be saying the same thing. And I think since you have a previous idea of the task, of what the task will be, it would be smart to have a template ready in your head. But I think I encourage students to make it a little bit more personal so that so that it sounds more like their style.
Yeah, that's something I'd always recommend. I think it's really important, if you take a template online, if you don't write it by yourself, that you use your own words. So because first it's personal, and second, it's just easier for you to remember the words because they're yours. I think it's more difficult if you try to remember something that you don't really not like, that you're not used to. So you just took the templates and inserted your own words, right? And so it was yours,
Yeah.
and so you knew how to use it, right?
Yeah, and additionally, I think using your own words would also make the whole text a little bit more heterogeneous,
Yeah, sure, sure.
Because if you write your introduction from the internet and your English doesn't really sound like that, then it's gonna look different, and whoever will score you will notice at first glance. So I recommend making it into your own style for these reasons.
Definitely. I think that's a really great idea. Ines, you said you only had a few days of preparation, so I guess you just picked out a few videos from my channel and watched them. Was there something you were missing on my channel?
From my own experience, I can say I needed help in the two sections, and that's what I watched because because I didn't think someone could teach you about the reading and the listening part. I thought it completely relied on your own understanding of English, and so I didn't think it required a video. But for the other tasks, I really needed some help.
Okay, and that's what you were looking for, and that's what you found.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yes.
Amazing. So you took the test in the test center, right? What
Mhm.
was your experience like?
Well, it wasn't good because there were some noises in the building next to us, and it wasn't really possible to listen well. But there's always the button to raise up the volume. So I would recommend that you do that. Either when students are talking, for example, if they're taking their speaking test and you're still listening, then I would recommend raising the volume up so that they don't bother you. And whenever you're speaking, especially speaking, you have to really focus because you could hear a word from next to you, and if you lose focus, then it's your time that's running.
Yeah.
You should complete your sentence. So that's a little bit stressful because you have to focus for real on your screen and rely solely on yourself and forget that people are with you in the center in the room.
Yeah, I totally understand. I totally understand. Ines, was there a section that was really hard for you on the TOEFL?
I think the reading part was exceptionally long. I had four texts, and each one was really complicated. I had history, I had science, I had biology, I had some other kind of science I don't know about, and it was long. I had to stay focused for over an hour and 15 minutes. So it was long because the mock test that I took only had three texts.
Yeah.
And I already thought it was too much. But then having four texts, I just, yeah, I got super tired and my back was hurting because I had to start looking at the screen and really read the sentence as well. So I think the reading part was the hardest for me.
Yeah, I think reading on the TOEFL is really challenging, especially because, as you say, the texts are really long, they are really complex, and you are really under a lot of time pressure
Yeah.
at the moment. So,
And
yeah,
the questions, yeah, and
yes,
the questions are not just direct questions.
yeah,
Not ask you what did I don't know, Zeus do. No, it's really complicated. They ask you for things that really um, to see if you really understood the meaning or it's really in depth of what's in there. So I think it's really challenging because
yeah.
the answers are pretty much similar, and then you have to be smart about it and choose the correct one.
Definitely. Which section on the TOEFL was the easiest for you?
Surprisingly, it was the speaking part.
Okay.
Yeah, surprising because I could find the words. It was
Yeah.
for me to just keep on talking, and it was fast, so it didn't tire me out. Contrary
Okay.
to the other sections, yeah, the other sections just didn't want to finish. It was one after the other.
Yeah.
The speaking part was so fast, and I was glad it was over.
I remember it was the same for me when I took it. So you would say that because you had experience speaking in English and because you had the template, you were confident in the speaking
Mhm.
part and it made things a lot easier for you, right?
Yeah, I knew there weren't be any surprises, bad surprises in the speaking part, so I was really confident.
Okay, amazing. Ines, how did you feel immediately after you had taken the TOEFL?
Relieved. I felt relieved. When you finish the TOEFL, there's always a message that asks you for either to confirm your test or to take it again.
Yeah.
I was so happy to click on the button to finish, and my back was hurting so bad, and I was the only one left in the center. Yeah,
Okay, you were the last one.
yeah, I was the last one. I was so happy to be out of there. It felt like it was. I mean, it lasted 3 hours and a half, or maybe four.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was very tiring for me. And I was relieved. I thought I did well. I knew I could do better, but I only wanted 100, something above 100, just for my ego. But for the university, I only needed a score above 90. So I knew I was okay. And especially since I saw my scores they give you the reading and the listening scores. So I had 27 in reading and 26 in listening. So I was already happy.
And pretty confident. Yeah, amazing scores. Again, really amazing. Ines, how long did you have to wait until you got your scores?
I waited around 6 days and then I got them by mail. And as for the actual paper that has my name and picture and everything, the one you send to universities, I had to wait for around 2 weeks, I guess, to get that paper. But I got my score 6 days after the test.
Okay, and then you were really relieved, I guess, because you did
Yeah.
really well.
Yes, I really was. It was like a huge burden was lifted out of my shoulders.
Yeah, I totally understand. Ines, what are your future plans?
Well, I'm currently in Spain doing an internship, but then when it will be June, around June or July, it will be the end of my engineering uh, year. So yeah, it will be my final one, and then I'm gonna be thinking either about starting to work or to apply for a university and probably do a year or two of additional education. But yeah, but I've got my TOEFL and it's available for 2 years.
Yeah,
So even if I change my mind next year, I could still use it, which is good.
yeah, so you are pretty free in your choice, right?
It's very flexible. It's very flexible.
Yeah, definitely. So Ines, I'd like to ask you one final question. Which video from my channel would you recommend to a TOEFL student and why?
Well, depending on the level, I would recommend various ones. If you feel confident in your English, if you think that you can score well and that you're able to communicate well and that you know so much vocabulary, then I would recommend you focus on the speaking and the writing part so that you don't make dumb mistakes, as we say. Because I have a friend who's really fluent, but she didn't prepare well for her test and she was really confident about it. She said, I'm a fluent speaker. I don't really need to prepare or anything, but she was wrong and she didn't get a good score. But she is really good. So the TOEFL is more about preparing for it and knowing what you're gonna have in front of you and the kind of questions there are and what they want from you. For example, in speaking, they want from you a structured speech. They don't want you to talk like in the streets. They want you to be critical and organized and structured. So yeah, I would recommend watching the video about the speaking part and the video from writing because these ones are easy only if you take your time to prepare for them. So these ones, yeah, you can easily score well in these ones if you take your time to prepare for them. And as for the listening, I personally didn't watch any video, but what I learned from my experience is that taking too many notes can actually hinder your hearing. So sometimes when I took notes, I couldn't hear the next sentence, and that made it hard. So I stopped taking notes and I focused 100% on listening.
Yeah.
And somehow that worked for me, but that might not work for you if you're willing to take the test. So what I would recommend, of course, is taking the mock test and adapting your strategy. Watch videos, for example, from Juva's channel and try to adapt everything to your experience because at the end it's you who's going to take the test, and of course there are going to be some changes, but most tips that you will find on the internet are going to be useful. So yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Okay, amazing, Ines. Thank you so much. Ines, thank you so much for this interview. I wish you all the best for your future, and I also wish you an amazing time in China.
Thank you.
Bye.